a minute.
Okay, y'all. A little late, but we made it to the 1,000 subscribers celebration.
Awesome. Beep, beep, beep. Well, that's cool. That's your brother-in-law in the background.
Okay. Okay, let me turn this up so I can make sure I hear y'all.
Oh,
But
God.
oh my goodness, this was so trying getting here, but I'm here. I guess it's been a while since I've gone live, but we had to go live to celebrate 1,000 subscribers.
Whoop,
So,
whoop. And now you're up to how many? Because once you hit that 1,000, it keeps going.
It's like
the last time I checked, it was at $14.99, like one away from 1,500.
she's at
Wow.
1,500. I'm sure she's at 1,500. It's like we're already looking at 2,000 now. So
Yeah, I'm at 1,500 now.
yeah, it's like you on your way to 2,000, and you just hit 1,000,
And
and
you just hit 1,000.
I hit it Saturday, so I got 500 in a week.
in a week.
Whoa.
And still
Y'all,
growing.
this is why I'm excited. I put up a poll in the chat. Let's see if any of you guys are out there. The poll is: what are you looking forward to most in this virtual party? Talking about Doom Patrol, Harry Potter trivia, Q&A, or drinking?
Or
I'm
what?
ready.
Drinking.
Oh,
I'm
well,
ready
you
for
know,
all of that.
that I
Yeah.
can do all of that, especially C. Is that C?
Well, D, the drinking.
Okay, D.
I'm ready.
Okay.
To keep it classy, I got wine today.
Oh, well, I got Jack Daniel's Down Home Punch.
Wait, hold on a second. Russell,
What?
go give me a drink.
I'm ready. I got my wine chilling on the side. So I went to, while y'all getting that ready, to
Mhm.
I'm gonna go get my drink. I'll be right back.
I
Okay.
went to the local liquor depot
Oh.
looking for my favorite, which is Riesling, because I knew I wanted Riesling, a white wine.
Right.
This German thing. Now, I have never heard of this type of wine.
Mhm.
I can read and I can like, pronounce things phonetically. However, this German name, never heard of it. So I'm just going to show you the label and call it what it seems to sound like.
So,
Gewürztraminer. Gewürztraminer. That's what it looks like. So I saw on the back that it's medium sweet, kind of like, you can get Rieslings dry, medium sweet. And I said, you know what? It was on sale. I want to try new things. And this is for my sister's celebration. So let's go.
So how is it? How do you like it?
Well, I'm about to take my first sip. It smells good.
Mm.
And I like it. It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
So a new wine. So a German wine.
A German Wiener Schnitzel. Whatever. It is good.
I wonder what Riesling is like, because that word seems like it could be German.
It's German too.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I believe. I'm a fact checker. I hate to say things and I'm wrong. So I'm going to
But
check both.
Riesling sounds German.
Yeah.
It sounds German. So, all righty then. Okay, so waiting on what did she get? That photography chick. We're waiting on that photography chick to come back with her drink. But in the meanwhile, you know what? I'll tell you, Monica. I had been talking to Ingrid about Doom Patrol because I started watching this show. I actually started watching it because of my Black History series, and I was doing Black superheroes in DC Comics.
Uh-huh.
And the last couple of, so I did two guys first. I did Black Lightning and I did Cyborg, and
Mhm.
then I did Vixen and Bumblebee. So, and I got a little mixed up because I had read somewhere I thought Vixen was the first, but it's actually was the first Black, female superhero, but it was actually Bumblebee was the first. But Vixen was like the first woman because the man who created her was like he was looking for a new character to start and to create, and he was like they had a lot of teenage uh, female characters, but they didn't have many, grown women. So he
Mhm.
wanted to make a grown woman, and he was like, they hardly had any women of color, so he wanted to make the grown woman of color, and make her like this jet-setting supermodel, da 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 da. So then I had looked up Bumblebee, and I had thought that she appeared in Doom Patrol. And so I'm watching the show, and I look, and I was like, she is not in this show, but she appeared in the Doom Patrol comics, but they never brought her to the show. So
So
I was
Doom
in
Patrol is DC.
Doom Patrol is DC.
Okay.
It's DC.
Was that
Um,
okay, so I'm the least educated in this. So I
mhm.
hear DC, Marvel. In my head, they were all the same. I didn't realize it was different franchise.
Yeah, DC is like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, you know, those guys like Shazam and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Those movies, those were all DC movies. But like all your Marvel, cinematic universe, that's like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Black Panther.
Has anyone ever done Wonder Twin Power activate? Remember the Wonder?
They they appeared in an episode on Smallville. Um, I forget how they worked that, but they did do like in the later season. I think it was like season 8. They did a Wonder Twin Powers activate. So that's the only live action Wonder Twins that I can think of right now.
Mhm.
I don't think any other because I'm trying to think did they appear on I don't think they appeared on Titans. They definitely didn't appear on Doom Control. So Titans is also like Titans are because like you have Teen Titans, Young Justice. They're all like the sidekicks. These were like the sidekicks forming their own little um, group. Cause like you learn with Batman. Batman had like about 3-4 Robins, and the first Robin, which was Dick Grayson, he became Nightwing, and then you
Hold
had
on.
what?
Were all of the Robins young?
They were all young when they came to him.
Interesting.
Wait
You
a
have
minute.
this old billionaire
Well,
hanging
I
out.
think he kind of adopted them, like because he adopted Dick. I think he
Uh-huh.
kind of adopted them, like it
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah, I've
because
heard of
they,
those adoptions too, Christy.
huh?
I've heard of those type adoptions too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They were about real
it
life.
was
That's what they were
Real
doing.
life. That's it.
what they
Sorry.
okay. So it was Dick, uh, Jason Todd, Timothy Drake, and then Damien. Damien is Batman's
All the
actual
boys.
biological son.
All the boys.
There was Barbara Gordon, who was
Mm-hmm.
Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Gordon was Batgirl,
They were
and
his wards. Mm-hmm.
So
Uh-huh.
she was the special ward.
she was
She's
Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
the daughter of the chief, so she was with her father. But did
Wow.
she know the identity of Batman? Did she know
I
his
think so.
name?
I think so. Like once she came, not at first. Like if you remember the show we used to watch on the WB, The Batman, when he was younger, she
Yeah.
comes in later seasons, and I think she doesn't know at first,
And you
huh?
said no. But yeah,
I was,
I remember.
I was literally talking to Monica because I know.
You know.
I think it was when me and Monica lived together, we were watching the Batman, wasn't it? Or Teen Titans.
That time has totally that's gone from my memory.
I feel like I remember watching a lot of WB Saturday morning cartoons because it was like the Batman, Teen Titans, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Because remember Tyler used to have the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and you could duel with them.
No,
No.
I know he's my kid, but I remember nothing they did. Only the like important points.
All I remember is him saying, peanut butter jelly. What you eating,
Oh,
Tyler? Peanut butter jelly.
Mama made chicken pot pie.
Chicken pie. Chicken pie.
Right. Yes.
Chicken pie.
He used to have you. It was kind of like Pokemon, but instead of Pokemons dueling with Pokemons, you duel with these different cards, and they actually dueled with cards on the show, and they had different powers. So if, like you come with and you could do like the dueling in real life. So that's why he would have his poke and like you could trade the cards and then duel with the cards. It was like a really
Okay. I feel like he was like older, like 8 or something like that.
yeah, between 8 and 11.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the dueling in the cars. I kind of like feel like he was sitting on mama's porch with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember him having them at mom and daddy's house.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Doom Patrol. So I started watching this show to see Bumblebee, and she wasn't even in the show. But the show was because like I remember when it was on air and people used to talk about it, man, this show was crazy. And then I watched it and I was like, this show is crazy. It was like, okay, so the show is called Doom Patrol, so you expect a group of superheroes fighting crime. Do you know when they started calling themselves the Doom Patrol and started fighting crime? It was season 4.
What? So what were they doing for the first two seasons?
The first 3 seasons. Okay, they all had,
Is this the show you told me about?
with the woman with the DID.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
They all have
sounds good.
superpowers. They all have superpowers or something. And like in each season, they did sort of have to fight things. Like I feel like the first 3 seasons, they would have to fight something that was kind of their fault, was out in the world. Like each season was something different. Like the first season, like, okay, Monica, Timothy Dalton was on the show. James. Huh?
I said, oh, really? That's interesting.
Yes, he played the chief. They lived in his mansion, and he pretty much he pretty much played little psychotherapist or whatnot with them and helped them deal with all of their issues. And in the first season, he's taken, and they got to try to find him and get him back. And so it's like all of these people who all have their own little issues, and then Cyborg comes because like Cyborg's a friend of the family. He knows Chief, so he wants to find Chief. And so like they spent, and by the end of the first season, they discover every single last one of them issue was caused by Chief because he was looking to find immortality. So every last person was immortal in a way. And it was like through his experiment.
Like Professor X, they kind of, with the X-Men in the movies, I don't know about the comic strips, but they ended up trying to act like, okay, yes, they got together as the X-Men, but like he was at fault for something that was going wrong with them.
But he didn't make them mutants. They were born mutants.
Right.
Whereas his name is Niles Calder. Calder, like one of them is a robot man who like he was in a horrific, because he was a race car driver. He was in this horrific accident, and all that he could save of him was his brain, and he put the brain in the robot man. Well, Niles caused the accident. Niles wanted him to he wanted to try to figure out how to make this like, well, if we do this robot man, will he be immortal, live forever? So, the guy's wife died in the
I'm,
accident.
I'm a brain inside of a robot because of this rich man.
Yes. His wife died. Niles told him that his daughter was dead, but in reality, she was living with his best friend who, right before he died, found out was sleeping
Well,
with
he
his wife.
sounds evil.
That's the thing, because like throughout the season, everybody keeps telling them Niles ain't shit. Niles is this. Niles ain't shit. And they were like, no, we love Niles. We love Calder. And then it was the season's big bad. And the very last episode was like, the truth will set you free. You need to tell these people the truth. And Niles was like, I am the reason why you guys are, the way you are. I caused
And
all of
he
that.
told these people with superpowers, I would have told him
All the way up.
I would
They
have.
were mad at him, but they eventually got over it, got through it. So yeah, so season one was finding Niles. Season two, we find out the reason why Niles did all of these experiments was because he had a daughter who was is she immortal, or was she live for a long time? Basically, when he met the daughter's mother, his baby mama, she was like 20,000 years old, and which made her basically like a cave woman.
She was 20,000 years old. Are you exaggerating?
No, she was 20,000. I'm not exaggerating. She was 20,000 years old. She had lived her life. So she almost she almost come from this sort of tribal heritage, because like she had this monster like that she can make appear and kill people and da 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 da. So of course the daughter has the same powers. The daughter is like 111 years old, but she still looks like a little girl, and she also kind of looks like a cave girl because her mother's daughter.
She ain't wearing shit.
No, because she has her mother's genetics, and her mother was obviously around during, like, the cave people. So basically, the whole season was about trying to figure out how, because like I think it was the end of the last season, they all got shrunk to tiny sizes, and they was trying to figure out how to get them back up to their normal size. And Niles made a deal with this wizard or whatnot. And the wizard was like, you got to give me that thing around your neck. And that thing around his neck gave him immortality. Because, like I said, the little girl is 111 years old. So now it's
No,
like,
none of them thought that maybe it's their time and they need to move on.
Mm.
20,000 and 100 years, really?
he was like, because he felt like he needed to be around to keep his daughter, because like he knew his daughter was going to develop this big, monster that can go around killing people like his wife did, or his baby mama, whatever. So he was
She
like, I need to live
was,
one
she was,
day longer than my daughter. So I guess she wasn't immortal, because he was like, I need to just live one day longer than my daughter. That was his whole goal, was to
just
live one day longer than his daughter. And so when he gave up this immortality so that the wizard could, bring everybody back to normal size, they spent the whole season trying to find a replacement immortality for Niles, because the little girl had these imaginary friends that she could bring to life. But there was like this one, the candle maker, that was crazy. So okay, so the part that I was talking to Ingrid about, because like I didn't tell her about all this, is that out of all of these people, the superhero people, there's this one girl named Jane, and she has what do you call it, dissociative identity disorder. So she had multiple personalities. So
Yeah.
she has like 64 personalities, and
oh,
because of Niles' experiments, all of them have superpowers. Each one has.
You don't know who you're dealing with at a given time. That would be great, because like they think they getting this power when they deal with me, but whoop, whoop came out. And now you about to get something else. So you prepare for
right. You
something
can
else.
live
But
and
the thing about the powers is when I mean, most of the time, because sometimes they don't, but sometimes most of the time when they come in, they'll do like something different will happen with her face, her eyes, her hair, and people will know, okay, who they're dealing with. And
So
and
wait,
so like the Jane was like the main person they dealt with. So everybody thought Jane was the girl. And then like maybe in the third episode of the first season, while they're still looking for Niles, they go somewhere and the guy was like, yeah, so basically he was telling her, you're not the one. You're not the main, you're not the actual person. You're
you're not
like,
the
so
host.
Jane was just another personality
Reality. She's not
driving the train. Right. She wasn't the main, she wasn't the real person.
host. It's called host.
Can we talk about how anybody that writes stuff like this obviously has some type of issues mentally to even think of these different concepts? Because I mean, come on, this is.
I wouldn't say that because, like, I just find it a very imaginative. As a writer,
I'm
I don't
not.
think I have to be crazy to come up with something like that. I just thought it was just.
I
I
knew
thought
you
it
would
was
say that.
really, huh?
I knew you would say that.
I just thought it was really imaginative because, like, okay, so what you have to understand, Monica, is like because like they sort of fed you pieces of her world, and like she talked about the underground, and then what you realize is, like when she would go into her head to talk to the other uh, altars. When she would talk to the other altars, she would basically take a train down into the underground, and that's where all of the altars were. And each altar had their own station. So it was
That's
like,
very imaginative.
yes, so they would go
Because
down there,
she
and
could have
even
just
the original girl had her own station.
they could have just had her close her eyes and boop,
For
she'd be
real. Like,
down there.
But no, but it's like when
No, she
it's
had to
like,
take the train down to the depths of her soul to
come
find
on,
the
ride the
restaurant.
train and ride it. Woo, woo. Now,
okay,
okay, so
so she goes down, and when you get down there, you see all of the different altars, and some of these altars you have already been introduced to, in the real world, so you see what they really look like in the head. And some of them look completely different. Some of them look like Jane, but some of them look like completely different people, all ages and sizes and things like that. You got black women in there, white women in there, because like Jane is Hispanic.
she's a cuckoo.
But so, and then, but the thing that
He
one of
identifies
the
as
things you
what?
realize, one of the things you find out, Jane herself, even though she's an alter, she doesn't have special powers, and the main girl, Kay, doesn't have special powers. And when you see Kay, she like everybody else is a grown woman because like I forget what period. Like she's also immortal, because like you see her going through time, going through the 70s and things like that, and you see her as a little girl. She's like Arrested Development. She's still the little girl she was when her altars were created. So
Hmm.
like, and she pretty much stays in her room and she's playing puzzles. And they actually showed the moment when her altars were created because it was like she was in her room playing with her puzzles. Her father comes and gets her, like, hey, he's about to do whatever he does. But he takes her out of the room, and the little girl Kay stays there playing, and one of the altars, like Jane, walks away with him. So it's like the altar experienced it while she gets to stay in her head and play her, disassociate.
Answer starting to come out. I guess the weather is changing.
Oh no, I hate that. Ew.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some salt or whatever on my windowsills.
Bleach helps too, I think.
Bleach, okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so you already know that I'm not loyal to TV shows, so I
Mhm.
never would have seen that these things were happening because there's no way I would have go. The moment she got on the train and went and saw I'd been like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
But it
Too much.
But like what I was telling Ingrid, the thing that got me about all of this and how they were, it was the portrayal of the DID. Because like I was bringing it back to we grew up watching One Life to Live and
Okay.
Vicky and Nikki and it just and that was like my exposure to DID for the longest, and now that seems like preschool compared to this.
Hmm.
But
This is
later
like,
on,
huh?
in regards to DID on One Life to Live, later on they really broached that subject
Mm.
with Erica Slazak playing Vicky, and we got to meet new alters that we hadn't met
Mm.
because all we knew growing when we were coming up, it was just
Oh, 'cause,
Mickey.
yeah, there was a little boy too, right?
Yeah.
That came up, and that's what came up. Tommy. He was
Tom.
the angry, like 14-year-old angry teenager. That
Yes.
was Tommy. But we met Jean Randolph, which was what they call her. She was like the gatekeeper. She made sure everything, nothing happened that could hurt Vicky. Then there was Tori, who seemed a lot like Vicky, but she was a little bit more crazier. Like, remember the scene on Set It Off when someone said to Vivica Fox's character, "I don't think we should do this," getting ready to rob the bank, and she was like, "Okay," and she went in and boom, 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 boom. That's Tori.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was Princess, the little
Hmm.
she's the same age as she was when her father started having sex with her or molesting. Oh,
And
I
let me jump in on that point. So this little girl has these altars, these ants are
Okay.
just popping up everywhere, and they just appear. What was the traumatic event that happened in this character's life that caused these altars to appear? Because she didn't just split off into these
Oh,
personalities.
it was her father having sex with her. Her father raped her for years, and then bam,
graped. It's graped.
graped. Sorry, graped. Um, because so basically that's where the altars
Okay.
came in, and you had all these different. So basically, all of these all like she developed these altars. She lived through her life, and she was actually in a mental institution when they did the experiments on her, and she got all of her altars got powers.
Uh,
Did
Goodness.
they choose her specifically because she had no one fighting for her?
They chose. I think they chose her because of her all of her altars. I
Well,
think
it
she was
probably was. She's unprotected.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best targets.
protected. But okay, so here's where they really started blowing my mind. So okay, so in season 2, he Niles brought his little girl home, and she's all she's even though she's 111 years old, she's still a little girl. She wants to play with people, and nobody wants to play with her. So he goes and he gets one of the altars, which is I think her name is Baby Doll. And so Baby Doll, she's a little girl too. So they start playing like kids play, and they were having fun and doing all this other stuff. But as time goes on, his daughter starts to sort of move along in her development. Like Baby Doll is arrested. She's going to be the same age forever. Whereas his daughter is sort of starting to grow up. She don't want to play like this no more. And she's getting tired of playing every single second of every single day. So she like starts hiding from Baby Doll. So that of course brings up fights in between. So what happens when you have this immortal little girl who can make imaginary friends and they can do shit, and then this other alter with superpowers, you know, fighting goes horribly wrong,
How bad?
horribly wrong. So I think Baby Doll kills one of her imaginary friends, and she sends the candle maker into the underground. We still don't know how she did this because basically it's like the candle maker went into Jane's head, went into the underground, killed Baby Doll, and killed another altar. And they was like, "We can die.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
We can die. Oh my god!"
I'm
And
thinking the
so,
same thing. If that's the case, like, isn't that how you can heal DID? If you can
girl,
get
I
rid of
think
the
okay.
ulcers that way?
When we get to season 4, I'll tell you. But okay, so to move quickly through this, um, so the alters were having problems with how Jane was, working in the like because Jane is primary. There are people who will come up every so often. There are people who never go up to the top. Like they will never go up. They will never. But like Jane is supposed to be primary. Her whole job is to be the person all the time. So they were like, "You messing up. You don't even know what Kay wants." Da 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 da. So they decided to replace her with a former primary, because they was like there was a primary before Jane, and her name is Miranda, but Miranda jumped into the well. We don't know what's in the well. All we know is that nobody saw Miranda after she jumped into the well, but now all of a sudden she back.
Oh,
And in the underground, Miranda's this black girl, and she's perfect. So when she becomes primary, she like everybody, loves her. She cooks. She knows the right things to say. She does the right things, and Jane is in the underground, and she starts noticing something's going on because some altars are all of a sudden missing,
mm.
and their stations are closed, like it's shut down, like bam. And it was like, and then, yes. So she's like, okay, something's going on. And basically, you find out that this isn't Miranda. This is like some sort of demon that
What?
formed out of all of the negativity in the underground and was going around throwing other altars into the well. And when you go into the well, you die.
And this was a show for kids? Like, who was supposed
No,
to
this
go?
is not a show for kids. This is an adult show. This is on HBO Max.
Oh, HBO Max.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is an HBO Max show. Yeah,
Okay.
this is no. I was saying that some of these characters I knew from kid show. It's funny with comic books. Some of them do appear on kid shows, but because like Bumblebee did appear on Teen Titans, and of course Cyborg was on Teen Titans, but Cyborg was also on Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is an HBO show and very much adult.
So
Okay.
wait a minute, because I just looked up Doomsday. I didn't realize. See, y'all, I'm new to this stuff. This was an actual cartoon. I mean, a comic book at first.
Doomsday or Doom Patrol, because Doomsday is a comic book character in the DC canon.
Doomsday is a comic book character.
Yeah,
Oh,
Doomsday.
yeah, I've heard that name before.
Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Doomsday is
Sounds
the
like
person
a
who
name,
killed
but it's a
Superman.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, Doomsday killed Superman.
Doomsday did what?
Doomsday killed Superman.
What the ham sandwich? Superman not supposed to die.
I actually have the what do you call it? The trade paperback of the death of Superman and Doomsday straight. Yeah,
That's like watching Hercule Poirot die. Oh my lord.
he does die. I mean, Hercule does die. But I mean, it's Superman. He comes back eventually, but he's dead for a minute before he comes back. It's kind of like in the Man of Steel movies, I think in the Batman versus Superman. Huh?
She didn't watch. She don't know
I
nothing
was
about
I was explaining to Monica because
Wait.
I know you.
Oh, wait. What show you talking about? I might have.
movies. Man
No,
of
Man of Steel, the Man of Steel Superman movies, and then they did Batman versus Superman with Ben
Yeah,
Affleck.
the last version of the Superman movies that came out. I don't think there's a new guy yet.
Well,
Well, I
it's coming
movie
out.
isn't released
It's
yet.
coming out this year or I think it's coming out this year.
It hasn't been released yet. So the last one released, Superman, he died. He got into a fight with Batman, and
Well,
uh,
actually, it was Doomsday who killed him.
yeah, I know, but I mean, he got into a fight with Batman. I feel like that fight with Batman distracted him, and that was what helped Doomsday to kill him. Because they
Okay.
should have been focusing and working together to come after Doomsday, but they did not. They wasted
Not
all of this time
until
fighting each
Superman
other.
goes. Until Superman goes save Martha, and so Superman's mama name is Martha. Batman's mama name is Martha. So Batman goes, "Why did you say that name?"
I don't know, all that hollering.
That
Why?
was a whole meme. Why did you say that name? My
Because
mama, man.
Batman
My
got to
mama
do that
cried.
voice.
So that
Save
that that's his humanity that breaks him down if he hears that.
I think
Well,
so.
it was kind of he gets to save a mark because like his mother died, and that's what he became Batman because of
That's what
that. So
made
now
him
he gets
stop
to
being
save
a jerk
Martha.
and
Huh?
wake up. That's what made him stop being a jerk and wake up and recognize, like, y'all so focused on who's right, because neither one of them agreed with how the other one was handling their fight with crime. Superman thought Batman was too extreme and ghetto and thuggish, and Batman thought that Superman brought the aliens here, all of that too, both of which is true. That just brought all of this stuff on the world. And he's like, you're doing too much. You're bringing all this stuff here. You're hurting these people. And Superman's like, you a thug. You branding people. You doing this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And they were so focused on being right. Huh?
He was branding people?
In the movie, Batman branded somebody in prison. I mean, not in prison. He branded somebody at some scene, and then the man ended up going to prison. Yes, he did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. How did we get off into Superman? Oh, Ingrid was talking about it. Ingrid ran us off the rails. Okay. So,
this is off the rails already with people throwing down a well and 64 DIDs.
First of all, we went off the rail when she took a rail down to the conduits and the shondo of her.
We went off the rail when somebody was 20,000 years old birthing a baby.
Birthing a baby. They were like, Sarah, like, are you got to be kidding me?
She was beyond Sarah. That's the miracle.
But like, as you can see with the little girl, like, she's 111 years old. She just, like, when they realized she just got her period at 111. So she
now,
was
see, that's when I would have been mad. How do I live 105 years without this? And now here I come, and you talking about I can have a baby now? Boo, never. I'm 105. Why are you playing?
She was a little girl, Ingrid, Monica.
No, she should have stayed. Never. No babies, no period. Like who?
But that was also a move, because he was like, the wizard was telling him. The wizard told him, like, since you're not going to live forever, you're not going to be able to control her. She is going to get that thing, and it's going to go out, and it could ruin the world. You need to kill her before she gets older, because once she gets older, she's going to get that thing. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna kill her tomorrow. So he decides to take her on this last little road trip where they do this father-daughter stuff, and that's when she gets her period, and that's when the candle maker's like, okay, my time. And he starts talking to her. But what ends up happening is I was telling Ingrid about this in the finale of that season. All of the Doom Patrol had to end up fighting their imaginary friends that they had made up when they were children. I think I told you one of their imaginary friends was Jesus. So he ended up having to fight. Jesus. So,
he lost. He better have lost. He better have lost because Jesus paid it all. Jesus paid it all.
In every battle. So
it wasn't actual Jesus. It was imaginary friend Jesus, but Jesus still won.
But that imaginary friend Jesus was based on Jesus the Christ.
So they all had to fight their imaginary friends. And basically, the candle maker was coming, and because he's the one who killed them altars, which is crazy. So he was coming out like boom, and so I think what ended up happening is, like, as I said, it goes back to her having this tribal heritage. I think she ends up seeing the ghost of her mother, and the mother basically no, like telling her no, she needs to go through this. And she takes her through something, and by the end of it, whatever she goes through, she's able to control the candle maker after it's over. And I was like, see, that's what happens when you have babies with people you don't understand their heritage. It's like you spent this whole time saying, I got to stop this thing from coming. And it's like all she had to do was go through the trials and tribulations, go through whatever what do you call it, ceremony that they have for them, and she was fine.
Yeah. Kill your child or teach your child.
So
don't teach your child, and it's gonna kill your child.
So okay, so that's end of season 2. Season 3.
Choices.
It's only 4 seasons. So season 3, the alters are starting to again have an issue with Jane, because I think Jane goes to talk to Kay, And Kay was like, "Oh, I want some new shoes." And she was like, "Okay, I'll get you some new shoes." And Kay was like, "No, I want to go myself." So Kay goes up, and she's like, she hasn't been up since she got these altars. So this is her first time being, in control of her own body since she got
Oh,
these altars. So
okay.
she goes out into the world. She goes get new shoes. She sees a
With
bike.
what money? With what money?
I don't know,
Mm.
because she just straight took that bike. The bike was leaning up against the pole, and she just got on it and started riding. So I'm like,
She just came up and started stealing.
but she came back with the bike. She was so happy, and the altars were disturbed. They were
Mm.
disturbed that she was happy. They didn't like it. They stole that heifer's bike.
Mm.
And so after that,
Who
she was
stole
so
it?
upset. She was like, she didn't want to come out. She didn't want to go up no more. So Jane was pissed that they stole her bike, but they was like, no, because like they're doing the whole, well, what happens if she gets happy, if she gets well and moves on? What happens to us? And I was like, I thought your whole purpose was to protect her and give her what she wanted.
I could
But
see a
now,
real life element of that though. With people, you afraid of people moving on, so you would rather them stay in a certain place because you're
Hmm.
afraid of letting go, or that they might just go, "Hey, maybe I don't need to be with you anymore."
Right.
that sentiment is they have that in common with, again, the One Life to Live DID stories, because those people never wanted, once they got that out and was out interacting with the world and doing what they wanted to do, they didn't want to go back.
Mm.
Hmm.
They didn't want to let Vicky out or Jessica, because Jessica ended up
And
having it.
that's the difference between those alters, is that they didn't want to be primary. They wanted Jane to be primary, but they just wanted to exist in the underground. Now there was a couple of other primaries who did want to be up top. One of them, I can't remember her name. I think her name is Karen. Uh, she she was this blonde. She had a blonde bob and blue eyes, and she always lives like she exists in a rom com. So her power is making people fall in love with her. And she had this one guy who she just kept going back to, and no matter how he's like, because she would go do this rom com shit with him, and then disappear. So he has no idea that she's an alter. He has no
Mm.
idea who she was. All you know is this chick comes in and out of his life. And he's like, I don't want to deal with you.
Like Colombiana.
So she does this thing where she makes it rain over only her head. It was very rom-commy. And somehow, bam, he falls in love with her. And then of course he gets he proposes to her. His family is like, are you fucking serious? Do you not remember what she's done to you all these times? Da, 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 da. So they had to do this. So they had to try to basically, get Karen, because they was like, and at this, I think when Karen takes over, Jane had enough. She was tired of being primary, so she was like sending other alters up there to be primary in her place because she needed a break. And it was like, Jane, you
Yeah.
can't do this. This is your job as primary. It's your job to live up
I
there.
wish I had a
Me
primary.
too. I was just thinking that. I
I
want to run
will
away.
send mine to work. I will send mine to work this last week, and I will have a 2 week vacation.
Ooh.
In your head, because the primaries, because you can also in the underground, they can go through Kay's memories. So like they will go, like they will spend time, like, oh, we went to this place out by the lake, like they will go spend time in those memories. Like it's not like other people are there, it's just a place that they remember, and they will go there and just sit and chill.
Just all in her business.
They were also, it's like, because like they addressed that. They was like, so you just going through her memories. They was like, one of them was like, we just, I think we realized that they all belong, all of the memories belong to all of us.
Uh, mm, mm.
So yeah, so that's the thing. At one point, like at the beginning of season 4, this doctor, like, she tells Jane, something, basically she basically made a deal with Jane that she gets to be primary. So she had, and her power is of persuasion. Like she acts like a therapist. So she goes around and she talks to people and gets in their head and da 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 da. But she's able to like persuade them and make them do shit.
Mm.
It's it's really funny. So like she is like an alter who likes to have the control. She wants to have the control.
Of course, somebody who has that power, they're trying to control people.
Right. So the other alters was like, Jane, you need to get back up there. Because she was like, but I made a deal. They was like, we don't care about that. You need to go
Mhm.
back up there. So because at this point something was happening with the underground. It was like they couldn't find Kay, and it was like starting to crumble. Like like the tunnel where the train comes through was completely blocked. They had to manually pull down all of the rocks so they can go back into the underground. Um, because at one point they were actually all outside of Kay's head in like this. I don't know how. I don't explain how, but like one of these other people with powers in the Doom Patrol world has this fog that can come and do shit, and they were existing in the fog.
Mm.
That's what happened. Okay, so they were out in the fog, and then so when Jane went down into the underground, she realized they were all gone. It was empty. She didn't know where Kay was, and the underground was crumbling. And then when she went and found them in the fog, she saw that they were starting to like crumble and die. And she was like, "You guys need to get back in her head, or you're all gonna die." And the doctor was like, "No." The doctor didn't want to go back into the head. The doctor wanted to live, but you could see that she was crumbling too. And she was
Mm.
like, "You would rather die?" She was like, you all have to get back into her head, or you're not going to exist anymore. And the underground is crumbling. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what was Kay. So she told her she knew that the doctor can convince everybody to go back into the underground. So she let her be primary so she can save everybody and keep them from dying. So
Mm.
that's so that, and so basically what ended up happening um, is throughout season 4, at one point, uh, Kay comes up again, and she's up for a little bit, and so everybody gets to meet Kay, because the last time she just sort of went, nobody saw her. This was the first time they actually saw and interacted with Kay and talked to her. And Niles Calder has this thing where he would have sessions with all of the people in Doom Patrol and have all these tapes. And he had a tape with like every alter, but he never had one with Kay. He never had a session with Kay. So, and now he's dead. I mean, yeah, at this point he's dead by season 4. Um, so Kay, is like, I wanna do a session. So Cyborg videotapes her, and she gets to have her own session. And later on, when Jane comes back, she sees Kay's tape, and basically Kay, the whole thing with season 4 is, what does Jane want? And she was like, she just wants Jane to be happy. And Cyborg was like, well, how is she gonna get, how's she gonna do that? How's she gonna find that? And she was like, I don't know, but I think Jane will figure it out. So the whole season 4 was all about Jane figuring what she wants. And I think she had, before this, I think she had given Jane a puzzle, and Jane was supposed to figure out the puzzle. Jane couldn't work the puzzle. Like she had to finish this big, huge puzzle to figure out, what it is. And so they all like by the end of season 4, they realized they all had this like sort of longevity given to like the thing that Niles had around his neck. He shaved off pieces of it and put into each of them, which is how they all became immortal. And there was this thing coming that wanted all of those pieces back, so it can be it's called a mortis, so it can be risen again.
Whoa.
Crazy. So they all lose their longevity. So they're in the time stream trying to figure out how they can get, like, they was like, if you go to these different moments in time, you can get the immortality back. And when Jane goes back into time, she sees Niles because she's in a time where Niles is still alive, and she has this conversation with him. And by the end of the conversation, because she was like, the Kay and the alters are trying to get her to say, like, because like every so often she keeps hearing people saying, say it, say it, saying, she's like, they want me to say something. I don't know what they want me to say. And then when she looks up, behind Niles is Kay and all of the other alters. Well, maybe not all, but all the ones we normally see all the time. It wasn't 64 people. So basically, and then Kay walks up to her and she was like, you know what you need to say. And because I think like Niles was having the conversation with her, like they were talking about the time where she becomes the primary and she splits off, um, you know, to protect Kay. And because he had said something like, but this only happened to Kay. And so then finally Jane says, it happened to all of us.
Mm.
And so when she says that, the puzzle appears in front of her, almost completely done. There's one piece left. She puts the puzzle piece in place, and then all of a sudden you see a kaleidoscope. And then she goes into the underground. They go, and her, Kay, and all of the alters are on a train, and there's like a kaleidoscope of colors. And she was like, well, she was like, where's the underground? Where are we going? Kay was like, I'm going to show you. She was like, we don't need the underground no more. So they, at the end of the train ride, what ends up happening is all 64 alters and Kay are integrated.
So that means they become one.
They become one. So she even comes up with a new name. She's like, the thing that keeps coming into my head is kaleidoscope. So they were like, okay, well, let's just call you Kay. So what happened before when like say, because like one alter can teleport, one alter has these fire powers. In order to use those, that alter would have to take primary place. Now you don't have to switch places anymore. Now because they're all integrated,
Kay
they
has
all have those powers. Yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
yeah. So she was like, yeah, it's there's no more underground, there's no more train, there's no more primary, it's all us. We're all one. So that's how season 4 ends.
So that was a very long, convoluted way to say that you should be integrated, which is what my thought was all along.
That's what because like my thing was, I thought what they were going to do was Kay was going to get better and they were going to go away.
Mm.
But they decided, because I guess each of them is still a part of her. So instead of getting rid of them, they all became integrated.
I guess that's like, again, if you're dealing with real world issues,
Mm-hmm.
do you really kill off the parts of you that maybe you don't want to continue displaying anymore? They're still there.
Yeah.
It's a part of you, but you just move on with your life, hopefully making better choices. But that other person is still there.
Yeah.
But see, this makes me think, and I'm sure they did it this way, that you have potential to bring Kaleidoscope back. She could either be a crime fighter or a mess starter with all of these powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She has the potential to be the most powerful person in DC because
That's what.
she basically has 63 different powers.
Yeah.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, so you could bring her in a movie and she would be the what do you call it? The wild card. So you
Yeah.
don't know if she's gonna be fighting with the title character or if she'll be against the title.
She's basically for good now. So she will be a superhero.
But you could
But
I think in a movie they could play with that. You'll be like, okay, what's she gonna do?
yeah. I guess depending on what the subject matter is.
Mhm.
Like you could be like,
She's
huh?
finally able. I mean, honestly, she's finally able to be herself. There's going to
Mm-hmm.
be some strength in that, strength in her inner self.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be different. And it's. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it should be a character where it's not exactly what you guys been witnessing for the last 4 seasons. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of all 64 personalities
Yeah.
and their powers.
Mm-hmm. So that's how the show ends. They give everybody their little, going off. The robot man ironically dies of Alzheimer's.
Are you kidding
Kind
me?
of
But
what?
he still has a brain, so his brain has Alzheimer's. Even though he was immortal, he had Alzheimer's.
So you could put
So
his brain into something and have him survive, but you couldn't beat Alzheimer's.
he died of Alzheimer's.
That is so ironic. It's so sad. Like you took my life, you made me a robot person, and now the only thing that was worth anything to you is gone. So did they kill him off?
Well, no, what they did was because, like, he eventually reconnects with his daughter. His daughter has a baby, so he was doing all this stuff, to try to. He's like, okay, I get my second. I was a horrible father. I get a second chance with my grandson, and so okay, so like basically they all get their immortality back. So he got his immortality back, but still,
He's
the
forever.
but the thing, Immortus, gave him this little crystal, and she was like, "You'll know what it is when the time is right." So he brought a car, like his daughter's in Florida, so he brought a car down to Florida because he's like, I want to give this car to my grandson, Rory. And in this moment, like while she's fixing up the car and he's in the car with Rory in the car seat, he looks into the crystal and he sees Rory's entire life.
Mm.
So it's almost like it's like he's dying. He feels it, and the crystal knows it. So he sees the like Rory's life, highs, lows, mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
everything, and then he sees the moment where Rory becomes a grandfather, and
Oh,
then boom, because like he has these like his eyes are like red lights, and then bam, the lights go out.
oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I was like,
I wish I could access my memories.
Do you? Do you want to see all of that?
there's a lot. I feel
When
like
I
I
have
remember
fights with
all the
Russell,
bad
yes,
stuff
I
and
need to
not
be
the
able to
good.
say. When
You
I
need
have
to.
fights with Russell, I need to be able to say, okay, this is exactly what you said, and
Well,
this is
cameras can do that. You just have cameras in the main parts of your house and rewind them.
yeah, that's intrusive.
Right, because then those cameras can come into play in another
In
part of your life
another way.
that you
So
don't want
no,
to.
I'd rather be able to go back and access certain memories.
Mm.
Mm,
I
I don't know.
don't. I like the whole I forget certain things. I definitely don't want to be able to look and see the future because I think that I would get distracted by what I see. Because if it's something great coming, then I'm going to be like, when is it happening? When is it happening? And I might miss out. Or if it's something bad coming, then it's like, oh my God, here it comes. And I can't live and be happy. So, yeah, I don't know.
And that was what.
Unless it's right before I pass away, like Robot Man, then yeah, I can see it all. For somebody else.
But that's what season 4 was about. Season 4, at the beginning of season 4, they end up because like when they decide to become the Doom Patrol, and they had to you know get places instead of having like a jet that will fly them all over the world, they used the time machine. So they was like, okay, we want to go to, Ecuador 5 minutes in the future. So bam. And that's how they moved all over the place. Well, somehow something went wrong. And instead of going where they needed to go, they ended up going well into the future. Apocalypses happened. They don't know how it happened, but they're all dead except for Cyborg. And so now once they get back to the past, they was like, okay, we got to figure out how to stop this, but we know what happened. They don't know exactly what happened. They know that somehow, they didn't do something and it caused it. So like you see like episode by episode, they're like, okay, we need to do this because by doing this is gonna stop, the future from happening.
So they just guessing and checking.
They just guessing,
Like a
guessing,
little,
guessing.
that's a
It's
math
like,
strategy, guess and check.
cause okay, so they was like, cause you see everywhere in the future a mortis, cause like, and then eventually they figure out a mortis is the thing that's coming for their immortality. But the other thing they didn't call it the apocalypse, they called it the butt apocalypse because they were talking butt in the future. They literally talk out of their ass.
Girl,
And
stop.
and they were going around killing people. They were like these, so they was like, we gotta kill all these, talking butts. And so they thought they had, huh?
Because they talking out their ass. We gotta
They
kill
are
them.
it literally talks out of their ass. But they almost killed all of them. There was one that was saved by Lane from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, she's in this.
She's in this. She comes in as a linguist, because like they had they flash back and they show where like when they first get the butts, and it was just these aggressive things, and so they I guess
Aggressive
they
nuts.
wanted to use these butts as weapons. So they were like, okay, she's a linguist, she can talk to the butts.
She's talking to butts.
She's a quirky person. So not only does she get the butts to start speaking English, she gets them to start singing and dancing show tunes.
Christy, when you say these things, I'm picturing an ass that dancing around and singing.
It's
Like
an ass
They was
with
twerking.
legs and little arms.
Oh, okay.
that is so. Oh my
Can
god.
you imagine when they belch? What that is like?
Oh,
oh,
okay. So yeah, so that I can't believe I took a whole hour just to explain 4 seasons of
Yeah,
Doom
that
Patrol.
show is
I was on
convoluted. That's
it, and
convoluted.
I only talked about Jane. I didn't talk about all the other crap that was going
And
on.
thank you because I don't want to know more. I,
That show, I was like, this show is because I don't think I told you about the sentient genderqueer street.
what?
what
There's a
she say,
whole
Monica? What did she just say?
Sentient gender.
sentient genderqueer street named Danny, and that's where Niles kept his daughter all these years. Like he kept her hidden on this street for years, but the street is
So the
able to
street,
teleport to different places, huh?
girl, that's what I was about to ask. So the street can do things. It's like a living being.
It's a living being. So like when you go on the street, it will like words will appear in the sky or in like window, like so it can talk to you through like, but you have to read. So it will talk to you and you
So
can
it can
talk back
warn
to
you if you a teenager coming home late. It can warn you. Your mama home. You better figure out how to get. How you
Girl,
go?
them.
How you gonna sneak in the house?
The
Cause they gonna get
street's
you.
name
it's
the
about to be a
street's name is
shooting.
Danny.
The
The
street
street's
is
name is
The
talking.
streets
Danny.
is
And
talking.
it basically he has people come and live on him who aren't accepted anywhere else.
Oh, so he uses that to use people because he tries to act like he's opening and welcoming, but then he takes
He
that.
is welcoming. He's actually the most innocent person on this show.
Oh, so
He
he's
has
like,
he has no
come kick
alternative
it with
motives.
me. Come kick
Huh?
it with me on King Drive.
It's
Come and
Danny Street because his name is Danny, so it's Danny Street.
nobody's going to Danny Street. Stop playing. Danny Street?
Danny
It's
Street.
this show is hilarious. Okay.
Sounds like a
Okay, so
setup.
we need to move on. I don't have any. Am I looking in the right place? Okay, so we have no comments, but
I open my window.
everybody said they're looking forward. The poll. One person says they were looking forward to talking about Doom Patrol, but everybody else is looking forward to drinking.
Of course.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not surprising.
'Cause that's the best part when you talk about Doom Patrol.
You do need to
That
take a
show
drink.
requires a sip or five
Yeah.
of
It's
alcohol.
I'm like, okay.
I
The
got
thing about it is, because like they gave it no love and no, because I'm like, for DC, it's really sort of groundbreaking for a DC show. All the stuff that they did, I feel like it should have had a bigger audience than it did. Because I
hmm
feel like what WandaVision did, like the way people felt about WandaVision, they really should have felt that about Doom Patrol. Like Doom Patrol was out there, and like and it's like and it's to me it's like okay, they you really should have given this show a
WandaVision. What's WandaVision?
Girl. So
okay.
let me tell you, I didn't watch the show, but I did watch her movie. Okay, Doom Patrol was wild. I'm not sure I finished it.
Mhm.
Child, and I understand why you are not sure because it seemed like it was a lot going on. You probably just was like, okay, did I finish it or not? Because that show sound messy. But WandaVision, this chick is the Scarlet Witch. She's from Marvel, okay? She's part of the Avengers, right? So she was this character that fell in love with this A1 dude.
AI, AI, basically a sentient robot.
So she fell in love with a sentient robot who ended up becoming a man. Now, there's a whole thing that I have about getting all into a
Mm-hmm.
person who was started as a robot, as
Mm-hmm.
A1, and then he ends up becoming a person. So they were in love and all this other stuff. So this dude dies, right? And she loses her mind, basically. She's very
In her
powerful.
grief, she creates an entire world.
In her grief, she creates an entire world because she lost her man. Because she is the only one who has ever lost
Lost
a
a
loved
loved
one.
one.
She's
Well, remember her twin was also murdered.
oh, she's the only one who ever lost a
And
sibling.
her mother and father died before they got power. So like
She's
she
the
lost her
only
whole
one
family.
who has ever experienced pain
And
in
long.
her life. And I'm saying that very sarcastically because she's not. And
As I take a
therefore,
sip.
I think at the time that that show came out, that was probably when I was going through some things about losing people in my life. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Girl,
bitch,
bye.
please, girl, bye. Get over yourself. Life happens and you're going to destroy everybody else. Like, no, no, because I've lost loved ones too. We done lost a lot of family. And
Mm-hmm.
here you come destroying everybody's world because you done lost your family and none of them my man and none of my mommy and my brother and win.
I actually have a video. I don't talk about Wanda Maximoff, but I do have a video where I compare Thor to Hawkeye because I was like, both of them lost their entire families,
Yes,
and only Hawkeye becomes a serial killer.
yes.
Thor just gets depressed, gains weight, and plays video games all day.
Yes. And it was like the two ways to handle grief. And Thor didn't attack other people. Ooh, my cat came in. Thor didn't attack other people. His was all within
And
himself. And
he
even
hurts
while
himself.
he was internalizing these issues, his
Mhm.
world around him, the people that he was responsible for, were still living and thriving. So
He made sure they were taken care of
he
though.
made sure they were taken care of, even though he was spiraling. But
Hmm.
Miss Wanda don't care about nobody else but getting her man back and her kids. And she don't care whose life or whose world literally she got to go into and
Hmm.
take and destroy and all
Destroyed.
this other stuff. She just cares about her. And that's what angered me about the Scarlet Witch character. When I got into that, I'm like, she's getting on my nerves. I just really did not like that this was how she responded to her grief because when you talk about the Avengers, when you talk about Endgame, a lot
Hmm.
of people lost. All
Hmm.
of them lost something. All of them lost a lot. I mean, their lives were changed. And she, and I know that happens in real life. People spiral. I just didn't have any empathy for her
Yeah,
character.
especially when you have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and in that show, they address the fact that yes, everybody comes back at the end of the end game, but they come back after 5 years, and there are people living in their house. Their families have moved on. They are 5 years younger than what they're supposed to be. So it's like you have, and then and
Is
I
in
forget.
private schools.
Yeah, I forget the name that they call these people who came back and who are displaced. But it's like people
Probably
are like, okay, what do we have? The whole issue is what do we do for these people who are displaced?
right.
They're
Right.
like
So you
refugees in
that's a
their own
major
home.
you can have 50% of the population that was gone and just shows up again. So,
Yep.
you had to wonder what happened unless they had a family member who kept their home and well, they had a home to go to. But someone like me, if I leave and go, well, I guess y'all would have my house. Hopefully you wouldn't sell it or whatever. But
The kids will be living in your house.
then I would have to kick the kids out. Auntie's back, get out.
They gotta earn what they get.
Mm.
As soon as you give somebody something, they don't appreciate it. And everything that I'm hearing that you guys talking about, there's a life lesson in all of that. The little
Mhm.
girl walking around hurting everybody because she hurt. I keep hearing now this little kid saying one day, which I hear all the time, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Hurt
so,
people. Hurt people.
you
Okay.
know, basically, we don't have the right to destroy people's lives because we're angry or hurt. We just don't
Mhm.
have that right. You could use it as an excuse. And we live in this world today where there's all this reality television and Real Housewives of Pick What City, and and all these other reality shows where you have people acting out, doing all kind of things for ratings, and
Mhm.
people are actually looking at that and taking that in and saying, "Okay, this is how I should live."
Yeah.
No, you can't sustain that way.
No.
Mm-mm.
You cannot sustain a life that way.
You
No.
end up
People,
becoming,
people are messing up their whole lives trying to imitate reality shows.
Trying to imitate, yeah,
in
and
my opinion, you end up becoming what we are today. I believe
Mm.
that the world that
this
we
is
live
how we
in
got
today,
here.
this is how we got
This is
here
how we
because
got
people
here.
are acting on it feels good to me, so I'm going to do it, forget other people, forget
Mm.
about what's the greater good, all. And then some people are acting as if they're still responding to the greater good, but you're not. You're
But you're not.
responding to some baser instinct within yourself that
Mhm.
you feel like this should happen, and you're not thinking about the long-term consequences of effects on
No,
other people.
on other people. We
Yeah.
have to.
Okay, let's bring up the mood. Let's switch to Harry Potter because if
Okay.
we keep talking about these comic books, we are going to be so depressed. It's so funny. Comic books are, supposed to be these happy things, and they are like they do deal with such deep issues, like the
You can't
mutants
have a
deal
sad.
with racism and stuff like that, and people hate it, and they're like, do
It's
you know
real.
that this is
That's real world, and the way that they adjusted them to fit the world that was going on, I appreciate that. They're like, okay,
Mhm.
we're experiencing World War II, so let's have our characters in World War dealing with these type of issues. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that was very like real. But
Hmm.
now we're gonna talk about witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
We
Okay, so a
we
lot
got
of these
an
things
auntie.
I know.
We got
I
an
know.
auntie that don't mess with that.
Say what? What you
We got an
say?
Oh,
auntie that don't mess with that.
Oh yeah.
right. Because when I came back from Harry Potter's Wizarding World and I was showing her my wand, she was like, "Don't wear that around in my house."
Show that witchcraft.
Because I was telling her like, "Oh, you going to they have these different places, and if you wave your wand in a certain way, it will make something happen." And she was like, "Don't
Ooh.
put that in my house.
Okay, she said, you don't know what evil got spoken into that wine.
Come
Don't
on.
put that evil on me."
Don't put that evil on me here, Ricky Bobby.
okay.
Don't do
So
it.
this is a hard one for people who haven't read the books. But what is a bazaar? A penalty for elbowing in Quidditch. An ugly plant that looks like thick black giant slugs used to treat acne. A stone taken from the stomach of a goat that will counteract most poisons. One of the dark creatures.
A dark creature.
I
Mm,
don't know the answer because I haven't watched not one Harry Potter.
I haven't read the book.
it's a stone that is taken from the stomach of a goat that will counteract most poisons.
Yep.
Okay, so Monica, you saw Half Blood Prince, right?
Hmm.
Remember when Ron drank that poison and Harry gets that thing and stuff it down his throat and he comes back? That was a bazaar. He took a bazaar and put it into his mouth.
I don't remember him having something put down his throat, but okay.
Yeah, because they were in the potion master's room, and so he went into one of his little drawers and he went looking for stuff because the potion master froze, and he just went and he got a bazaar because he had just read it in the book,
Okay.
and he put it in his mouth, and that's what brought Ron back. Okay. Next question. What kind of dog is Fang? This is what's his faces? This is the Giants dog. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, okay. Big dude.
Look
Um,
at
Hagrid. Hagrid.
Hagrid. This is Hagrid's dog. Fang is Hagrid's dog.
I
What
was
kind
getting
of
ready to say
dog?
Clifford and the Big Red Dog, but I'm not talking about.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a boarhound, a bloodhound, a three-headed monster, a basset hound. Hmm. I think it's a boarhound because it's
Yeah, ain't
definitely
no.
not a
Changed my
three-headed.
mind. A
Huh?
boarhound. I would say a boarhound. It definitely wasn't a three-headed monster dog or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So that one's right. Okay. Second one. Who is the librarian at Hogwarts? I don't know.
No, never seen.
That's this is for straight book people because they do have a like because like they do go to the library and there is somebody
Yeah,
that
they
just
spent a lot of time there, but I never saw anything there other than the three of them.
okay, so we're gonna do this by elimination. So Madame Rosmerta, she's the one who she has she's in Hogsmeade. She owns like a bar that they're too young to go into, so it's not her. Madame Hooch is the one who was teaching them flying, so it's not
Hoochie
her.
mama.
So it's either Madam Prince or Madam Skeeter. And I really don't think it would be Madam, or is it Madam Pence? Am I reading that wrong? Is that
It's too
Madam Pence?
tiny on our screen.
Okay, I can't see it.
Oh, I
Oh,
just
so
enlarged the screen. Madam
okay.
Rose Murta.
Yeah, so it's not her and it's not Madam Hooch. So it's either Madam Pence or Madam Skeeter. And I'm thinking Madam Pence because you think of Pince Nez glasses.
And Madam Skeeter just sounds like she's a rapper or something.
All right. So it's Madam Pence.
Oh my gosh, it does sound like a rapper.
Right by clicking on the answer key will be provided. Oh, after the quiz is scored. So it's not telling us if we're right. Oh, this is not I don't know how many questions these are. I wish they would have told me what it was along the way. Okay. What book is Philia Spore the author of? Curse and counter curse, bewitch your friends and befuddle your enemies with the latest revenges, hair loss, jelly legs, tongue tying, and much, much more. History of magic, standard book of spells, or 1,000 magical herbs. Um,
1,000 magical herbs. I don't even remember that character.
well, it's she's not a character. She's probably the author of a book they read in school.
I'm
So
saying I don't even remember it being mentioned.
right. So I'm gonna think it's 1,000 magical herbs because her name is Philia Spore. Okay. What does Charlie Weasley work, or where does Charlie Weasley work with dragons? Ireland, Romania, Transylvania, Estonia.
Was it Transylvania?
I think it's Romania.
Okay.
Because Transylvania does sound right, but I think it's Romania. So it's either one of those two. It's either Romania or it's Transylvania, but I think it's Romania.
Pennsylvania is a real place.
Yeah.
I've only heard it referenced when they're talking about Dracula.
Ooh.
I think that's where he's from.
Cool.
What is gunning or groonings? I can't see this. This is very small.
Not even out of your trifocals.
I don't have trifocals, Heather. The name of the snake Harry communicated with in the zoo? I don't remember that snake's name. He was in one scene.
That was that snake that he got to attack the kid. He was like, shika.
His cousin. One of the goblins who works at Gringotts? I don't think so. Uncle Vernon's drill making company. Maybe that's it. The owner of the wine shop in Diagon Alley. That is definitely not it. I think it's Uncle Vernon's drill making company. Because that sounds like that.
What was the question again?
What is gunning?
Oh, it does sound like
You
a place.
know what? You guys talking about this reminded me. I did see one Harry Potter. It's in one with a big. It was a big spider in it.
Yeah, that was the second one, Chamber of Secrets.
You didn't watch any of these with your children?
No.
Your children is the reason why I started watching Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
bought it for them. I bought the book and would read it for them. at night at bedtime. Whatever.
What? What
It
did you
was
say?
like, yes.
It didn't bother them, no. Them some tough suckers. They were just fine. They was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
mommy, you
I got Tyler, the Half Blood Prince when he made the honor roll. He was
Mhm.
like 9, and when I read that book as an adult, I was like, a 9-year old read this. This is long. It's a long ass.
He probably didn't understand most of the stuff. You know how it is when you see stuff when you're younger. Then you grow up and you go, wait a minute.
oh, wait a minute. Is that what they
Is that what that was?
Okay, what's the next question? How
There's a
many players are on a Quidditch team?
meant?
7.
no idea.
Okay,
So
so
the
a
game they
9.
Quidditch team. I'm gonna say because it's 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna say 7 because you got the goalie, the goalie. You got the seeker. That's 2. I think you have 2 beaters. That's 4.
Beaters.
They okay. There's these things called bludgers, and you can beat the bludgers against your teammates, and knock them off your broom because they're flying.
Oh,
They're flying on. They're playing this game while flying on brooms, like 1,200
think
feet.
of a
They're like high in
flying
the air.
soccer game. Think of a flying soccer game on a broom, but more brutal.
Yeah. So that's 4, and then I think you have 3 people who, because like they actually have like people who are making goals. I forget what they're called. So I think there's like 3 people making those goals. Um, because the thing is, like, I think each goal they make is 10 points, but if you catch like the seeker catch the little,
Game over, you win.
it's 150 points. Unless the game has been going so long that 150, you're down by more than 150 points, you're going to lose. So you don't want to catch the seeker until you have enough points that the seeker is going to put, because the seeker is 100. It's not a seeker, but you know what I mean. The snitch. If you catch the snitch, that's 150 points. But also, if you catch the snitch, the game automatically ends. So you can win 150 points, but if your opponent has 300, you ended the game and you lost.
First of all, if the game going on too long, I don't care who winning. I'm catching the snitch because, baby, why we playing so long? They're kids.
They played that for hours.
This is how we could talk about how this book was, how this school was just so inappropriate for these children. They really went there and fought for their lives. They were treated like adults. They were overworked. They would go to bed thinking that somebody was trying to kill them because they were. It was just a lot that was happening in
Right.
this school for 6 to 12. It
Yeah.
was from
And
six.
I
That's
did
a
have
lot.
another video talking about how trifling Dumbledore is, where it talks about each little thing, and like they always say, Hogwarts is the safest place to
No, it
be.
was not.
Every year somebody like dies or almost, no, every year somebody almost dies until the year they die.
In Goblet of Fire, the movie, because I, don't do the books too much. When
Mhm.
they killed that boy and brought him back, and that daddy was like, "My
My
boy,
boy.
so kill my." I'm like, this is so damn traumatic because it was real, it was raw, it was painful, it was a game, it was a championship, and they made a point of saying that people Harry's age should not be participating, but Harry got thrown into the game, and they let him do it because that was the rules, and this boy ended up getting killed playing the damn game. It was too
Harry
much.
Potter got killed playing that game.
No, this boy that was older than Harry that should have been in the game. He was old enough to be in the game.
Yeah, you had to be 17. I think Harry was 13 or 14.
13.
No, he was 14. He was 14.
So
So
Harry watched him die, and he died because of
Harry.
Harry. So it was crazy. I'm like, this is too much. And then Hogwarts kept on, they were still open. Like, you didn't shut the school down. You ain't send the kids home. You just got
Girl, Dumbledore died on the grounds and they held his funeral there.
no parents came. The kids just had to feel the
No,
parents.
yes, no parents came unless their parents were, because like Dumbledore's funeral, everybody in the magical world came to that funeral. It was held on Hogwarts ground. He was buried on Hogwarts ground. No other
You
headmaster.
never saw any parents at that school. Never. They was
Never.
just like, get
Never.
out the house, go. We'll see you at the end of
We'll
Christmas.
see you in 9 months.
Mhm.
But like the Minister of Magic was there. That heifer from the Order of the Phoenix, the one who took over as headmaster, she was at Umbridge. Umbridge had the
This woman
Umbridge to come to his funeral.
torturing kids for detention. She
Huh?
was girl, she was making them write, and everything they wrote was it was their own blood.
And everything they wrote was engraved into their hands.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's another thing. It was engraved into their hands. So when they wrote lines, that's what these kids need today. Now, because they on 10, they need to write some lines like that and have it engraved in their hands. Like you really need to watch. I really need to watch my mouth
Mouth.
because it's too reckless. They need to write that over and over again.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say 7 for the Quidditch team because I really feel like 7 is the.
They got it. They have it. That Quidditch team is similar. The name is similar to
You need to
Cribbage.
wash your butt. You're not cleaning it right. Ew. Oh, I'm
Which
sorry.
of the following is not a flavor of Bertie Bott's every flavor beans? Earwax, spinach, liver, grass. None of the above. They are all flavors.
You
I'm
think
gonna
grass?
say none of the above. They are all flavors because if
I heard
earwax
earwax.
is definitely a flavor. So
Yeah.
if you so then spinach and liver. Then if you're gonna do earwax, you're gonna do grass.
First of all,
Earwax.
you need to clean yourself before you come in here rubbing on me. Ew.
Okay. What color does the smoke inside a remember all turn to tell you there is something you forgot to do?
Oh, is it white?
Mm-mm. That's not even. It's red, blue, orange, yellow.
I can't remember. I just remember that I forgot what I forgot.
Well, if the movie is correct, it's red
Hmm.
because remember, what's his face? The little chubster. What's his name? Neville. Neville got one,
Hmm.
and I think it turned red.
Hmm.
Okay. Which of the following is an incantation that will make an object fly? Avada Kedavra? No. Finite Incantatum. I can't even say this. I can't say that one. And Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa, not
It sound,
Leviosa.
now that
It's
sounds familiar.
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
That sounds familiar. When Random Leviosa.
It is.
Yes, even Ingrid remembers that. That's the answer.
She didn't
Because
include her
I
children.
want
Avada
to know how to
Kedavra,
remember that.
Avada Kedavra is the curse that kills you. So that's not it.
It's
And I
Leviosa. That looks
Wingardium
like
Leviosa. Okay. Score my test. Let's
yeah,
see what
short
we got.
term, because baby,
Your grade is you answered correctly 10 out of 10. What?
We
what?
got 10 out of 10. I mean, you
10
answered
out of
correctly.
10.
Cool.
I only
Result
know one. I only know one answer.
All I knew was Leviosa.
is Leviosa. Okay. So what is a bazaar? That one was right.
Chrissy wins the Harry Potter. I mean, if you went to the darn Disney thing, you better
Well,
know it.
Wizarding World.
Visiting
Yes,
World.
we were right. It was Romania.
You were right. I said Transylvania.
Uncle Vernon's
At
drill
least
making.
I knew that Charlie trained dragons. At least I knew that.
Yeah, Charlie trained dragons. Bill worked in the bank. I think he worked like with Gringotts. How many players on the Quidditch team? 7. That number just stuck in my head. None. All of the fly. Okay, so the Rim Brawl was red, and Wingardium Leviosa. Oh, the book. What was the book? 1,000 magical herbs. So I think like these are a lot of these things I didn't know for sure, but because there was clues in the name, like Madame Pins was you think of Pin's Nez, which is the glasses. So and librarian are known for wearing glasses, and then Bilious 4 would have wrote 1,000 magical herbs. So that, and then the gunning sounds like the drill making company. All right.
Repulsa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa.
It's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa.
How do I know that?
And
That's
then, you're sending these kids off to boarding school all by themselves, riding the train. That's cute and everything, but a bunch of kids on the train, like I would never.
There were the only adults on the train was the person driving the train and a woman with this
The
candy
cart
cart.
serving candy on the train. So your kids sitting up mainlining candy all the way to their school.
that
Then
sounds like
they
a
Which was
setup.
most likely in Scotland. So they were going from England to Scotland.
So you're talking about, and then when they got there, they would get on these little weird little things that would ride them to the school because it wouldn't drop them off right at the school. So it was just a lot of stuff that was dangerous. Then you almost had a child that got left on the train because of a trick that somebody pulled. Like a lot of dangerous things could have happened to these kids. I would
Because
never.
there's no adult supervision.
Yeah, I would never put my child on a train to the school with them idiots.
But
Magical idiots? Come on.
they, but see, all of the parents who sending their kids to Hogwarts, they all went to Hogwarts too.
So they know better.
They know
It's
what's
like
happening.
being a teacher. That's why I'm saying it. I'm saying it as an educator. I know what kids do, and they are kids that went to the school. They know what kids do. So they should have known I shouldn't send my child on this train. I need to get on the train, ride there with them, and drop them off at the gate at the very least.
No, they take them to the train station, get them and all they trunks on the train and be like, deuces, we will
Bye.
meet you
Get
here
on. Get on.
9
Don't
months.
die, baby. Don't die. See you later. See you in 10 minutes.
But the parents was like, look, I know you think you got it hard taking, flying lessons, but back in my day, we not only had to learn, but we had to fight the darkest wizard of all time.
Right. You're dealing with nothing. We made it easy for you. You don't have to face the one who shall not be
There
named.
is no
Voldemort.
wizarding war going on right now.
Gosh,
But
man.
I didn't read the Cursed Child, so I don't know what, because like the Cursed Child is the play, but that you can read the play. I took it out out at the library online, but then when I saw what happens is it's Harry. It goes back and forth between Harry Potter and his kids because his kids are now at Hogwarts. So he sends the kids off to school, and then they split. And I was like, I don't care about Harry's kids. I want to.
Well,
I
see
want
what's
to
going
see
on with
Harry
you as an adult.
being an aura, chasing dark wizards. I don't care about his kids in Hogwarts. So it goes back and forth between Harry and the kids. I was like, I'll sit through the play, but I ain't about to read this. I ain't about to read another bunch of kids.
Here's the thing. You could do kids for the kids. But
Mm-hmm.
for people who have been watching it for years, we want to follow Harry's journey as an adult. So
Yeah.
honestly, they're missing out on an opportunity for two streams of income. One, do the story of the new little kids so the younger kids could watch it. And two, the rest of us could keep on watching Harry and the other people. And we can watch Harry and Hermione realize that they should have got with each other in the first place.
Cause like seriously, harmony all the way. I am a harmony person.
Period. Because I don't know where that little girl came from, Ron's little sister. I can understand why Harry would be like, oh, she cute. But falling in love, like for real. You spend time with Hermione. Ron and Hermione, no.
That's my thing with because a lot of people they of course grew up reading the books, so they're all about Ron and Hermione. But I was like, okay, I'm looking for this not only as a fan but as a writer. If you're going to be the love interest, you have to be the main person there throughout the story. And Jenny just wasn't. It was always Harry, Ron, and Hermione. HRH. Those are the three that were always together. Jenny came in literally like she came in, she popped in and out. Like Harry and Jenny dated for 2 weeks at the very end of Half Blood Prince. Like they started dating after Dumbledore died,
Mm.
and by his funeral, he was like, I have to break up with her because I got to go look for these Horcruxes. That's how quick their relationship was.
And that would have been an opportunity for Hermione and Harry to grow and blossom, because at a part of that journey they were by themselves, because Ron did what Ron does, even though he was but Ron did what Ron does, and he was gone. So they should have bonded during that time and fallen in love. But you wasted it, so oh well.
This kind of sounds like Joey and Dawson from Dawson.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say
Mhm.
that. I knew you would bring it back to Dawson's Creek.
It's a bad choice. It's like you like that guy, that unreliable guy, but I don't care how much you like them, they're unreliable. So Joey and Pacey were not a good choice because Pacey is unreliable. I don't care how much he cared about Joey, he's unreliable.
And then
And
what was he gonna do when he got out there to New York
thank you. Thank you.
for
Thank
work? What was he gonna do? How was he gonna make a living? Was he
thank you.
run like a
They had nothing other than Dawson in common. Dawson was their common thing.
yeah?
And we're supposed to believe in this connection between them, that they were going. I mean, yeah, you could have a connection with people, but still, it's just like, no, it should have been Dawson and Joey. They messed that up.
My thing was
That
that
goes down as one of the worst show endings ever. Like,
there were people out there who liked Joey and Pace.
oh, there's always a ship.
It was
There's always a
But
it
my
ship.
was
thing was,
cool to watch. It was cool as a dalliance before the show ended. I was okay with that. He shouldn't have been her choice.
Hmm.
I just don't think so because he was doing fine in whatever city they live in. He had a job, he was working, blah blah blah. Again, what is he gonna do in New York?
Mm.
And that's gonna become a part of the issue in their relationship.
Hmm.
Did he even have a career, or was he just a job dude?
He was running a restaurant.
He was a chef, wasn't he?
No, more like
So chef
a
would have been a
manager.
career. Okay,
Okay.
manager is a
More like
career.
a manager of a restaurant. So maybe he could find something like that there. I don't know.
I know,
In
but
New
it would be
York
easier going from New York to wherever they are than going from wherever they are to New
to
York.
New York, right? It's like, no, he's going to be working at a restaurant, probably as a waiter,
I think later.
and he will have to work his way up.
Yeah.
And what
Hmm.
was Joey's career path? What was she doing?
I think she was like a writer
She
or
was an
journalist.
editor.
Again,
She was an
her
Huh?
and
editor.
Dawson were both creatives, and they could have
They mesh.
shared that journey together. They would have understood each other. He was business, she was creative arts, and he was unreliable. He was a ladies' man, and it was just
He
too much.
slept with a teacher.
Yeah,
Oh God, yes, he sure
he
did.
had a lot going on that he needed to work out. Sleeping with a teacher is therapy. First of all, he was the M word by that woman. And
Mhm.
we at that time didn't give it the credit that it should have been given. Like, oh, it's just, oh, he did this with his teacher. No,
That
she
was
took
that
it.
was doing a lot back then.
It was
Because like even on the OC, they had a storyline where one of the characters was sleeping with a teacher, and it was played mostly as a scandal. Like, oh my God, she's being favored because she's sleeping with a teacher, not the
that's
teacher
not
is
a
taking
scandal.
advantage of her.
That's not a scandal. That's a crime. Like, stop. It's a crime.
It's a
And you're gonna be affected by that over time, that this person was pulling you into something that you couldn't handle. Like emotionally, I feel like that's gonna come back on them. And who's gonna be there when it comes back on them?
Well,
Joey.
the good thing about in the OC, what happened? She ends up becoming like because when she was sleeping with the teacher, she's a villain. And but then the next season, she become like the girl Misha Barton leaves, so she comes in and she takes Misha Barton's place. So so you get to deal with like although they never really bring up again the fact that she was sleeping with her teacher, they do bring up the fact that she has issues that doesn't allow her to have a healthy relationship. So she goes to
Mhm.
therapy
Messing with an old man.
because like she was like she liked this boy and he it like she didn't know if he liked her. Basically they had this big push and pull and she decided, you know what, I'm gonna go away and get myself together and leave you alone for right now.
Which is what I'm sure ended up happening with Joey and Pacey, because he had a lot going on that he needed to deal with. And then They were like all except for Dawson, even though his situation was still weird, even though he had both parents. But they were like raising themselves. It was weird, you
Hmm.
know? There was really no adult there as a guide or anything. Dawson was the only one who had it, and then his parents had their weird stuff going on. It was just a lot, but that's real life because
I was getting ready to say, there are some people out there who believe that they really figured out on their own, that their parents weren't there. That's their mindset. And I think for some it could be true. And for some
Hmm.
I think it's not true. That's just your perception.
Yeah.
agree.
You don't realize how much your parents were in your life and how much they were part of you. And
Mhm.
for
Right.
some reason you got yourself twisted that you think you figured out on your own. That's probably why they write what they write. Because I see too many stories, too many movies out here. Those teen movies.
Yeah.
When you see like high school stuff happening, like
Yeah.
a bullying situation happen,
They seem like they are really by
it's
themselves.
yeah, and I'm like, where are the teachers? Because I worked at a school, and I
That's
know
what, that's
that
what I like
there
about
is adult supervision,
that's
and
what I liked about the OC because the adults, I mean, it was still soap opera. So the adults had their own drama, but the adults were there. So when the teenagers got into, like, the teenagers will go so far and get themselves, in over their heads, and the adults will come and be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
and fix it.
Exactly, because that is what we do. We are constantly there pouring into them, trying to get them to see this is what these actions, you want these consequences? Because you can experience these consequences for these actions that you keep jumping in head first with. I'm telling you what I've seen. I've been in the game for a long time. I'm telling you what I know. I'm not making stuff up for you. I tell kids all the time, the things you doing gonna get you beat up.
Hmm.
And I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you get beat up. Don't think
Yeah,
I'm saying that because I want to see you get beaten up. I'm telling you, I'm warning you, please stop. Cause you gonna get beat up. Girls in the past I've seen doing what you're doing get beat up. Boys in the past I've seen doing what you're doing, they get beat up. Y'all stop playing.
Not they get into fights; they get beat
No,
up.
they get beat up. They get mollywopped. They get dog walked. They get stomped. Like stop. They're playing. And then you're gonna get mad when the teachers are watching the fight, waiting for security to come break it up because it's like,
I'm not getting involved.
I
Yeah.
told you stop
I'm
playing
not
with
seeing.
so and
What
so.
do I look like getting in the middle of your fight?
You ain't
Okay.
breaking my fingernails.
Or my back. How about
My
that?
back.
You're breaking
Yeah.
my back.
Okay. Okay. So we've gone through Doom Patrol. We've done the Harry Potter trivia quiz. There is no Q&A because nobody's put any questions in the chat. So that is pretty much it. Unless we want to talk about. I mean, have you been watching? I haven't started watching. Daredevil is on now.
No.
Okay,
I
so I
haven't
haven't
either.
watched it because of this whole cinematic universe, and they were like, "Oh, I think Echo's supposed to have something to do with Daredevil." So I'm like, "Do I have to watch Echo first?" So now I got to figure out if I got to watch Echo first before.
I am not really into that as far as right now getting into new stuff. I see that this new
Mhm.
Marvel thing is about to happen, and right now I'm going to stick with the movies that are being released. And if
Not
I
the
feel
TV
a
show.
need to go back, I'll go back. If I find something that's very interesting in the movie,
Hmm.
I'll go back and check it out. But I
Right.
told you guys how I was watching Endgame, and there wasn't Endgame, it was Infinity Wars. And
Hmm.
I just felt like, Infinity Wars hit different when you talk about somebody making a decision for everybody. But when I think about what Thanos was trying to do, right?
Hmm.
Sounds great, sounds noble. You see that the world is being overpopulated and resources are not enough for everybody that's in the sounds great. You care about the I was about to say economy, but it's not the economy. What's the other E word? The environment.
Overpopulation.
Overpopulation, you care about the environment. That sounds great. But it seems like he took joy in taking out people
He
because
did.
even the way that he took out Gamora's people. It was some meanness. That the person said a speech before they gunned everybody down. You didn't gas them. You didn't do something peaceful and nice. You were like, now you are about to experience the so and so, so and so. What? Like,
And what people keep bringing up is, yes, you wiped out half of the universe's population, but it's really only going to take 20 years for it to get back to where it was.
mm,
Maybe 40. It's
yeah.
not going to take a whole century for it to get back.
I wonder if things that happen do influence the rate at which people give birth. And I'm thinking about like America and the world now.
Hmm.
Because are the birth rates lower? Are they slower?
The birth rates, I think, are lower because that's why they're doing everything they can to get rid of abortion, because they're like, we need to have these babies. But what they don't see is, people are barely taking care of themselves. So they're like, I ain't about to have no baby. I can't afford a house. What am I going to do with a baby in an apartment?
Right. Because
So
this
it's like,
is
so
apartment.
a lot of millennials and Generation Z's are not having babies. They're like, I am child free. I will not be having children. And it's like, some of them is because they really don't like children. But it's like, I can't afford. Like, I want to live a nice life. I want to be able to do what I want and enjoy my life. And children will I'm not going to be able to travel the world and enjoy myself if I have children. And it's like, you want these children to be had, you need to improve the economy.
And it's people may say it's selfish, but I think it's the best decision because why would you tie yourself down with something that you can't afford? And
Hmm.
it's just for me that's what it's about because you want what's best for the children because in the field that I am in, I do see things and lives that are not the best interest of the children and it's so sad and it's like what can be done. Well, one thing that can be done is stop having children that you can't take care of. Don't have
Hmm.
more when you're having trouble with the four that you have. So basically it's like do what's best for you, do what's best for the kid, all of that and whatever. So
When you said that, you know what that made me remind me of? Back when I was on the Duggars, and I loved them and I watched all their specials before they got the show. And
I
like back when they
love
had 16 and huh?
I loved watching how she organized the wife,
I
how
do
she
too.
Yes,
organized her
six.
life.
Like when I watched 16 and counting, so they just had 16 kids there, and they were like, "How do you do it? How do you take care of 16 kids?" And she was like, "I'm actually more organized now than I was when I had three." But when you think
That's a
about
great.
it, how she has those children, she had parentified those children, so those children were like they had a buddy system going. They took care of their younger siblings, and I was like, "Yeah, it's easier when somebody else is doing it."
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
when you had, it's like, yeah, it's easier when you got 16 when they taking care of themselves and you were control and the only one responsible for the three.
And she trained them though, and I think that it worked in a way where her kids weren't overwhelmed with being like a parent. Whereas some kids you see now where it's like, oh, you can't go to school because your sibling is sick. So
Hmm.
you're going to stay home and miss out on your education to take care of the sibling. And with the Duggars, it was a homeschooling situation. So
Hmm.
if someone was sick, they're all at home anyway, da 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 da. So I'm saying that to say with her, maybe her kids didn't miss out like kids that, who are not in a Duggar type situation.
I
Yeah,
don't know
but the
because
homeschooling
them Duggar
situation
kids.
is IBLP, which is a whole other thing. Like it wasn't really the greatest system, and also there is a lot of scandal with the leader of the IBLP.
Well, we
So
know, we know.
yeah.
And I am not saying that that's a great thing to be because I know that the Duggars had their issues. I definitely know that they had a whole bunch going on and it has been revealed and all of that. So that was other things that was going on while you're trying to live a life that maybe your kids don't ascribe to because they got
Hmm.
other things going on with them. So of course you have that risk, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say that they did have. I was we talk about that and bring up this whole word that I just heard, parentification. I just recently started hearing that word.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that's been happening since the beginning of time.
Yes.
And we know that for many families that had many children, the oldest
Mm-hmm.
kid always ended up helping out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's the difference between helping out and having it be
Raising the child.
their responsibility.
that's the part because I felt like, my experience, I thought that was helping out, but there are
Yeah, but I don't ever think I was your responsibility.
no. See,
So
yeah, but I think
you helped out. That's a difference.
If you don't get your ass off, he jumped up on the table. I don't know if y'all saw that on the camera, but
I saw his little ear come into view.
he was gonna knock over my wine glass. That's all I cared about. Don't knock over my wine. One, you might
Oliver,
don't mess with my
Oliver behave.
he just being nosy because he know I'm up here talking and it's almost time for him to eat. So he like, I'm hungry. You go feed me.
Lord, how many are you down to now, Ingrid?
3.
3.
Hallelujah. So before we, get ready to move on, let's just toast to, I see the clock is at 151, and that reminds me of your number of subscribers of that 1.5. So
Yeah.
celebrating that, it took a minute for you to get to 1,000, and
Yes.
then you just jump right past 1,000 and you're on your way to 2,000. That is
Awesome.
amazing.
Keep
It's
up the good work.
so great. It's putting up the good work with what you believe in, what you read, this is what I like to say. Reading opens up so many doors, and because you are such a book person, and then that goes into movie person and writing, and
Mhm.
this is what this gets you when you pursue your dreams. You
Yeah.
know what you're talking about. You got the information to share with other people. You have so much knowledge to share, so that's great.
So much
Yes.
entertainment trivia. I know
And
what
to
a resort is.
I want to say keep up the work. Don't give up. Uh,
Hmm.
I know that it was challenging getting to the 1,000, but you kept going, and that's the thing. That's life.
that
That's
is
Hmm.
exactly what life is. You
Hmm.
keep going. Um, success doesn't have to look. Success doesn't only look one way.
Hmm.
It has multiple perceptions attached to it.
Hmm.
mhm.
And so, as long as you're happy and find joy in what you're doing,
You are successful.
then you are successful. And bump anybody else who says anything else. I doubt that anybody's ever had the gall to say anything to you. I doubt that's ever happened.
Not to
But
my face.
not to
No.
your face. But as you
I
grow,
know it's there. I
as
know
you
it's out.
yeah, as you grow, because I did see a couple of comments, at least 1 or 2 comments in one of those videos. As you grow, you're going to get some more comments of people attacking you
Hmm.
and attaching their narrative of you onto you. I just want to
Yeah.
say their narrative has nothing to do with you.
Hmm.
Their narrative is none of your business. That's their problem.
That's their
Yeah.
issue.
That's their
Yeah.
issue. You
Yeah,
keep
because there was this one comment. I think they deleted it on the Irene Adler video where I like in the video I was like talking about how much Sherlock loved Watson, and I was like, and it's not homoerotic, and this person like was like, who are you to say it's not homoerotic? Da, 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 da. And like I couldn't
why you
even like
taking
by the
offense
time I
to
saw it, it was already gone. But the thing is, there were several other comments that agree with me that Sherlock is a romantic and asexual. He doesn't feel romantic feelings. And he
And
has no for sex.
instead of getting offended about that comment because you were not putting down that type of romance, what you were
Right.
saying was that's not the category it goes into. This was a man who just genuinely loved another man, which I even saw in the movies. I feel like Guy Ritchie's movie captured
Mm-hmm.
the love that Sherlock had for Watson, which was in no way romantic. He loved him. He cared for him. He didn't want to lose him to his wife. And never did I ever think he wanted to be his
be with
lover.
him.
But he
No.
was not trying to replace him. He just was like, I don't know about this situation. I don't know this woman. I don't know if I could trust her, this, that, and the other. And I just understand that because you can have love for a friend like that, like I guess like a sibling, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Or it could have to do with your character. It could have to do with your character, and your character could be a person of it's not even a sibling. It's just this is my person. I love them, and I don't know about this other person coming in the picture. I don't want another person to come in the picture. I want this person to be here for me. I want us to keep working together. I want us not to be affected, and for them to have to go home because now they got a responsibility. It could just
Yeah.
totally be
It's
selfish like
totally
that.
selfish.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Yeah. And I
Absolutely.
think it was a little bit. I think it was a little bit of selfishness, but yeah, a little bit. He just loved Watson because,
Yeah.
like, in the books, Watson's wife eventually dies, and then Sherlock was like, "Well, you might as well come back here." So Watson moves back in with Sherlock.
Yeah, so I totally get it. It's like nobody's bashing, and nothing you said came even close to saying, "Ain't nobody got time for that." That's not what you said. It was like it wasn't that. That's
It
not what it was.
wasn't that. No, that's not what it was. No.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I feel like everything in Sherlock Holmes is about his ability to be an investigator, to be a private investigator. Because like he even has, and I meant to put this in the video and didn't. His he believes that your brain can only hold so much knowledge. So he
Mhm.
does not believe in knowing things that does not help him investigate crime.
Mm.
So whether or not the Earth goes around the sun or the sun goes around the Earth, he does not know because it does not help him investigate crimes.
That makes sense.
The only way he
So
gonna know that is if the murder victim, right?
Wow. You'll find out then.
That's when you find out.
Yeah.
right, so it's
I
like
appreciate
so
that.
I feel like romantic feelings have no place in his world because they are not going to help him solve crimes.
And I don't like when you have somebody that you watch like a Hercule Poirot or I was about to say Shakespeare, but what's his name? You just said it. This dude, the investigator.
Sherlock.
Sherlock
Yeah,
Holmes.
When they get bogged down with those that romance stuff, it can get on my nerves because
it
if I
does.
want to see a rom-com, I'll go see a rom-com. But if I'm going to see a great investigator, I want to see them investigating. It's okay if they play along where it seems like there's an attraction between them and a sketchy
Hmm.
character. That's cool.
Hmm.
But when it becomes, oh, I hope she's not the person because I love her. So I'm gonna ignore everything she do that's questionable because I want to be with her. Like, no, just have it where they're flirtatious, but still, this person is about his thing. So then it becomes to the point, yeah, I was attracted to you, but girl, you killed somebody, so you're going down. Period.
There's actually a Hercule Poirot story because Hercule loves to have love stories between other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the characters was like, I guess they were like one of the main points of view outside of Hercule Poirot. You saw the story through their eyes, and that person ended up being the murderer.
Mm.
And but like what was funny was I already was looking at that character sideways because when they were describing how the two characters fall in love, him and the girl, and they was like, oh, they both like this, they both like that, and they both don't like niggers.
Ooh.
What? What? Agatha?
Agatha
They wrote
was
it
so shady.
so romantically.
Agatha!
Agatha was so shady. Oh my
That
god.
Agatha
ain't
was
right, Agatha!
there's a lot of slurs that I didn't know how to spell until I read them in Agatha Christie's book. She had every racial slur that existed
Yeah.
was written in her books.
Yeah,
So
I
when
mean,
I saw that,
that is
I was
true.
already side eyeing both those characters. Cause like, how you gonna have them fall in love over not liking black people, and then writing in the book they both don't like niggers? Like that was, oh my gosh.
That's
Mm.
some bullshit.
Hey, that's something to unite on because they had that in common, so they could get together and talk about their hatred of other races.
Yeah,
I guess,
I was like, are you serious? Oh
girl,
my
it's like that 10 Little Niggas book that she had.
Yeah,
I like that story, but that title, baby,
that
stop.
title.
Wait, I thought it was 10 Little Indians.
No,
No, it's
initially it
10
was
little
10
niggas.
little ends. Then
Okay.
they changed it.
Well,
Yeah.
she did have a chapter in another book called The Nigger and the Woodpile.
What book was this?
I can't remember, but I remember I called you and was like, Ingrid, there was a chapter title called A Nigger and the Woodpile. And back then, you knew exactly the book I was talking about.
Oh, okay. It's
He was
been
like,
a minute since
he
I
was like,
read
this
the
such and
book.
such and such and such happened. I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, I remember that book.
There's a book of hers that I read that I still remember. And it's not a Jane Marple or a Hercule Poirot or Tommy and Tuppence, but it's period piece and it's based in Egypt back in long time ago,
Oh.
where someone there was a family members were getting killed off.
Mm.
The central story that I remember about that book was that they said you never know a person's character until they're in the trenches,
Mm,
That's
until
it.
they're going through it.
mm-hmm.
And as the people were dying, you got to see what we saw was how the person who was the most mouthy, loudest, quote unquote, strongest became more afraid as time went on because each of them were getting killed off.
Mm.
And the one who was Millie Mouse and not talking a lot ended up being the killer. And as each killing went forward, he became more,
Ah.
like
Right, right,
ready to
right,
punch
right.
me. Like he became more boisterous. He had more to say.
He
You
was
know,
getting his
he,
confidence from killing.
he was given a confidence. He wasn't a punk.
Mm.
Yeah, and it turned out those two, who I just described, were husband and wife, and the
Mm.
husband ended up being a killer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it was a good book and it was a good story on okay who you are when you go into the trenches. That's your character. That's who
Yeah,
you are.
that's and that is the perfect ending for this live stream because who I am in the trenches is definitely who I am. I don't change. Oh,
Ooh.
so if you like my video,
Yes.
please support my channel by subscribing or donating to Ko-fi or Cash App. The links are in the description. And
Smash the
I
like.
don't, huh?
Smash the like button.
Smash
Yes,
the
the
button.
like, yes, like and subscribe. Share with all your friends and enemies. I don't know when I'll be coming back live, but I definitely am going to be doing a Harry Potter video next week. So if you like the Harry Potter trivia, we doing Harry Potter next week. So da 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 da. In the meantime, I gotta get queued up. Thanks for watching.